So today we're gonna be breaking down my stories. I asked you guys to swipe up on your favorites, and today we're gonna go through how I made each one of those stories. So these are some of the stories we're gonna go through. I'm gonna teach you step by step, tell you if you need to download any apps, and just kind of walk you through my process. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with how I make posts like these and make them still work, because these are the stories that I get the most responses to, people being like, how do you make this still work so that you can click into it and click on the post even though it's obviously edited. To start off, we're gonna go on our stories. I'm gonna take a picture and color it in green, and we're gonna save this picture. Now you're gonna go into the post that you want to share. So I'm gonna continue with this example of me in India, and I'm gonna share it to story. Click on the picture so that the white bars appear instead of this little box, and we're gonna go into draw and color in the background the same green color. Now we're gonna press onto stickers and add a photo, and the photo that we're gonna add is this green picture that we just had a second ago. We're gonna rotate it and make sure that it fits right up until those white bars so that you don't see any more of the picture, but you're not cutting out any of those white bars. You're gonna click on the three dots at the top and click save. From here, we're gonna go into an app called Magic Eraser. It doesn't have to be this app specifically. I'm sure there's a lot of different alternatives. Just look up Eraser if this app doesn't work for you. But I use this app quite a lot for Instagram, and you're gonna see it even later on. But anything that I have to cut out, I will usually use this app. So we're gonna press on remove background, and we're gonna click on this last picture that we just saved with the little borders. And automatically it's gonna erase the background, but I usually go back because you see how the corners here are like really sharp, but when it cuts it out, it makes it rounded, which is cute, but it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like the actual Instagram thing because that part is sharp, if that makes sense. So I go back so that it goes back to green. We press on wand and I press on the green color. So here you can kind of move around this bar, and as you can see, the lower the percentage is, the more there is left of that green. So it's not always the same number that I have to do. So I kind of play around with this until I can see that there's not really any green left. Yeah, there's a point where it just starts disappearing and cutting out that image. So try to find a good middle ground where the white is still intact but the green is minimal. I'm happy with this, so we're gonna go ahead and press save. And from here on out, it's really simple. You just share this to your story. I usually make this big so that wherever you press, you kind of have to press on the post. But as you can see here, I can't zoom it in all the way. Like, you can kind of still see my username at the bottom there, and you can see that it's just kind of like a solid color, and I don't like that. It's not letting me zoom in the full way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back up into stickers, and I'm gonna manually add the picture that is uploaded. So I'm gonna find this picture, and now I can enlarge this picture as much as I want. So I'm just gonna make it big enough so that it fits the top and bottom of the screen. And from here, I'm gonna once again add a picture and just add our little post. And that is it. If you want to take it a step further, you can go back into the original picture, and on iPhones, you can go ahead and save the main object of the picture as an image. And here, you're gonna just choose that image and size yourself into the same size as the picture. You have to kind of play around with this to get it right. And then it looks like you're in front of the little post thing. And if I post this on my story right now, it would be clickable and it works well. And that's how you do that. And if you don't have an iPhone and you're not able to select the object this way, you can just go back to your Eraser app, whatever it is, select the picture, and either it will kind of do this shitty job, or you can do it manually. But of course it's extra, but I mean, I feel like it's worth it. Like, it looks really cool. Okay, moving on to the next one, I want to show you how I make the DMs stand out in the story so that it's not like a normal screenshot. It's almost like a sticker. This one is very simple. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to screenshot a DM that you want to post on your stories, and make sure to crop out any other messages that you don't want to include. Go back into your Eraser app. This one has a lot of ads, but it's worth it. You're gonna choose your picture of the DM, and usually, personally, I would cut out the reply to your story. That's very specific, but it's just that when you keep it in, you have to also take out these little dots in the letters, and I just find that it doesn't always look that clean. You can experiment with this. Obviously, sometimes it looks good, but for me personally, I always cut out the reply to your story, and then it's gonna automatically do its thing. I don't like that, so we're gonna go back, press on wand, and select this. And again, we're gonna move this around because you see it also cut out the box of the actual DM, like the little gray box. So I'm gonna play around with it until it brings the box back, and then you just add it as a sticker on whatever story you were planning to post. Now again, if you want to take this a step further, you can go into your pictures and select the object, save image, or you can go on the eraser app and do this manually, and you can add this in and place it over so that the sticker is almost kind of behind your head. I didn't align this very well right now, but you get the point. Honestly, it seems like there's a lot of steps and it takes really long to do this, but once you do it a couple of times, it is very quick. It takes me 2 minutes to make a story like this, so yeah, it's very effortless. The next thing I want to show you is how to make this story. So this little blurred darkened effect is really cute if you are telling a story or you just want like multiple stories to get something across. So as you can see here, I was saying that I might film a what's on my iPhone video, and let me know if this is something you'd like to see. And then on this next story, I mentioned that I'm currently using 2 phones and I use my focus modes, and it might be interesting. So it's related to the story that I posted right before it, and it just shows that we're still talking about the same thing we just talked about on the last story, but I have something else to add onto it. Because technically I could have added this text on this story, but then it would have been too much. So sometimes I like to make this separation. Like here, you see the DM, you see the poll. Next story, you can still see, though it's the same context because it's literally the same picture. It's what you just saw, but I have another text here. How do we do this? This is the simplest thing ever. So once you've created the first story of the sequence, you're gonna go ahead and save this picture, and then you just go back into your photos. And what you're gonna do here, this is specific for Apple. I'm not sure if it works the same way for Android. I don't have an Android, so I can't test it out, but if it works for Android, let me know. And if not, you can use other apps to blur images. I'm sure almost every single photo editing app has a blurring effect. It's just much quicker on an iPhone. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna go from the corner of the screen and drag down until it creates this little blur effect. So the reason it does this is because it wants to bring down the control center, and before it brings down the control center, it slightly blurs your photo. You see, I'm like moving my finger and it goes from less blurry to more blurry. So you're gonna see how much blur you want. I usually don't want too much because I want it to be clear that it's still the same story. And then we screenshot. Once you screenshot, I'm just gonna crop this into 9:16 so that it fits an Instagram story. And from here, you can either edit the picture and make it darker here, but bonus tip, a quicker way to do this is that if you upload straight from Instagram, if you go to draw and press on this little highlight marker here and select any color you want, if you press on the screen and hold, it's gonna color in that screen, but not fully. I think it's like at an opacity of 50 so that you can still see the background, but you can do this in whatever color. Like you could do this with yellow, but I feel like this is usually too much for the eyes, so I like just doing this with black, and that way whatever text I'm writing here, you can still see that picture in the background and it's blurred, and it kind of creates this effect. Okay, moving on to the next one, I want to show you how I make my texts multicolored. So I do this quite a lot of my stories. I saved a couple of examples because I do this pretty often where, for example, all the text is white and then one word or a couple of words might be yellow to kind of emphasize whatever I'm talking about. This can be any color. I don't know why, but I just like it in yellow. I feel like it's literally just like a little yellow classic highlighter. So yeah, I do this quite often to highlight whatever I'm talking about to make my point stand out more, and I feel like this is not common knowledge. The way to do this is we're gonna select whatever you want to stand out and then press another color. Another bonus thing is that if you want to highlight multiple different words, so for example, maybe I want to highlight hello, if I press yellow, it doesn't always change color. I don't know why. This is just like some bug in Instagram and it has never been fixed, at least not to my knowledge. So what you can do is just press another color and then press back to the color that you want, but sometimes the first time you press, it won't change color. And then you can do this as much as you want with as many different colors as you want, and yeah. You can make whatever look you want. Like I said, personally, I always go for white and then I make whatever I want to stand out in yellow. That's just like my personal aesthetics, personal preference. Also, another bonus point is that you have a lot more than just these colors. I feel like this one is more widely known, but for those that don't know, if you hold on a color, you will actually be able to access the whole thing. Another thing that I made in this story that I want to quickly show you is how to make this little glowing emoji. I feel like it's really cute if you're talking about something specific, like maybe you're talking about how you bought a new computer and you want to include a computer emoji, or you're meditating and you want to include the little meditating emoji. The way to do this is you click on whatever emoji you want. We're gonna click on this little box at the top that gives it the border, and you're gonna just go to the third font. This is gonna give you the little blur effect in the background, and I feel like this is really cute. You can change it to whatever color you want. I've noticed that it doesn't let you do all the colors. Like for example, when you press black, it's purple. It's always like this. I'm not entirely sure why, but you can just go between the colors, see what you like and what fits. And yeah, that is it for the emoji. And then for our last tip, I want to show you how I make these little captions for my videos. So this is exactly what the captions look like on TikTok, but I like doing this for Instagram as well because I like this specific font. For this, we're gonna use CapCut. I love CapCut. CapCut is what I use for all my reels, all my talking stories, anything. If I ever want to edit on my phone a video, I always use CapCut. So we're gonna click on new project and we're gonna select the video that you want to make the captions for. Then we're gonna click on text, auto captions, and generate auto captions in whatever language you're speaking. So you can even do this for other languages. For example, if you're speaking Spanish and you want Spanish subtitles, it will make them for you. And it auto generates all the subtitles for whatever you're talking about. You can change the style to however you like. I'm gonna show you how I do it. So I always size down a little bit because I don't like when it's to the whole screen. I feel like it's a little bit harder to read when you're kind of like scanning your eyes from one side to the other side, whereas when it's smaller, it's easier to read for me. And then you're gonna go down here into style, press styles, and down here we're gonna scroll until you see this white box and black text. You can do this in any other color, and you can go here and change the colors of the text or the background, anything you want to do. Another thing I change is that, as you can see, some of these lines that are generated have 2 to 3 lines, and the box here doesn't look like what it looks like on Instagram. So we're gonna go back into style, styles, background, and we're gonna click on this box. This is a lot more like what Instagram looks like, and I'm gonna actually adjust this a tiny bit, and I'm gonna add a little bit of width and a tiny bit of height. Obviously you can play around with this however you like, but I feel like this looks a lot more like Instagram and TikTok. And then last thing I would do is just delete this little CapCut thing that it adds at the end, and then just export the video, and that is how you make captions for your stories. So those are all my tips for Instagram stories for today. I have so many more, so let me know if this was interesting or useful. I really like making this type of video because stories, I feel like, is my favorite format out of all the formats. Like, if you had to be super specific, stories is my favorite thing as a creator, but also as a consumer. Like, if you have good stories, I will follow you. Like, I'm very picky with who I watch because I really like really nice stories. So if you want to make your stories look nicer, these are some tips. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Peace and love. Bye.